Indeed. OK, that's Alison L for us over at City Hall. Right, London councils are failing to use available powers to bring vacant homes into use. That is according to an investigation by the estate agent James Pendleton. It says of the capital's 20,000 empty properties, none were recovered last year using an empty dwelling management order. Let's get a little bit more on this from Lee James Pendleton, one of the founders and directors of the firm behind the research. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Andy, for
Let's talk a little bit about that order, because I think a lot of people will never have heard of it. It is a council jargon. What are they supposed to do?
Sure, they can basically they can seize empty properties for over a certain amount of time, which they are not doing. You know, it's actually very surprising that they have this order in place, which I think has come about, and like you said, nobody has actually really heard of it, so they can seize an empty property that's been sitting around for a certain amount of time.
Are there any restrictions around that, or can it be any property?
No, there are restrictions around it, but obviously there's a huge amounts of empty properties out there. I mean, if you look at Kensington and Chelsea, it's one of the highest boroughs that they have nearly just under 1,400 properties that are empty. So it's incredible that that's available, and the councils are actually not doing anything about it.
Yeah, let's look at the stats. I think there have been 53 applications made by London authorities since this power took effect, and that was 2006. So in 10 years, 53 applications, only 19 have been granted. Why is it not working then? If they've got this power, in your opinion, why not?
Sure.
Why is it not working?
I think the councils don't have the resources for it. I really do think that. And I think, obviously, if they haven't got the resource and they haven't got the manpower to do it, it falls off their radar to be able to do it. So I think there's a big wake-up call now for the council to say, look, we've got this. There's an empty housing crisis out there. We need to do something about it.
I want to just bring in a statement from London councils. They're the body which represent authorities in the capital. This is what their boss had to say. Here it is. So this is from the Mayor, Steve Bullock, who is the executive member there. He says empty dwelling management orders are notoriously difficult to obtain, and are only available for restricted circumstances. And he went on to say, councils use many other methods, such as increasing council tax on empty properties and offering grants to bring homes up to a lettable standard. So that's his view on it. Does he raise a valid point there that actually perhaps a lot of these properties might be handed to people through inheritance and then in a really unfit state? They've not got the capital to make them livable, and so that's why they might sit empty.
There is that, but also how is it being policed? And how's the general public understanding of that's going on? So that information you just gave, probably nobody actually even knows about that. So they have this system in place, but it's failing drastically. So actually, if people understand it better and educate people, people can actually say, well, this property is empty in my street for a particular reason.
So as an expert in the field, what needs to be done then to change this approach and get these houses back in use?
I understand, obviously, the empty dwelling management orders probably are difficult to enforce, but they need to make it actually better. They need to look at that legislation and think, actually, how can we enforce it? How can we move things quicker? If a property is empty, what do we do about it? Not just turn around and say, it's too complex for us to do it. So that needs a big review, because there is a crisis with empty property, so it needs to be addressed quickly.
Certainly, and there's certainly a housing crisis as well. That's Lee James Pendleton from the estate agents, James Pendleton. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you for inviting
Your
me.
thoughts on those statistics there, those orders not being used, certainly when it comes to vacant properties in the capital. Right, let's just tell you what's going on after the